love the sound of an acoustic guitar. You know, I love the kind of drum percussion sound of it, and then I stopped using a pick and I started using the 5 fingers. And started learning the finger picking and finger style, and then I just love it because there's so many sounds you can make out of an acoustic guitar. When I first started, I was 10 years old, and my older brother really wanted to get a guitar. He was really into like heavy metal, like Metallica, and like these really heavy electric guitar bands, you know. And so we found somebody in our town selling a guitar for only $10. And I had $5 and my brother had $5. So we put them together and we bought this guitar, and we learned the song called One by Metallica. The first song ever. It first started by buying the guitar magazines like yours, you know, and would learn how to play these songs in there, and then I started writing some of my own songs, and at first they were just very basic, normal kind of sounds, and the more I learned about guitar theory, music theory, I learned the rules of music, and then you learn how to go outside of the rules of music and break those rules and still have it sound good, and then I got into like a lot of these different techniques. And I think it just was a slow process that just kept growing and growing and growing. People I originally grew up listening to were a lot of like old folk music, you know, like Bob Dylan, the Beatles, of course, and some other American bands. There's a singer-songwriter named David Wilcox who was a big inspiration to me because he did a lot of alternate tunings. A little bit of capo stuff. I love capos, you can see. And but also Phil Keaggy is a guitarist I love, and of course all of the great guitarists now, Tommy Emmanuel. I listen to a lot of music that's very different than what I play. I love any kind of music that's really creative, that has maybe a good artistic value to it. So I don't listen to like a lot of pop music, just because to me it tends to sound very similar, a lot of the bands, you know. So there are a lot of American bands, they call them like indie rock bands, that I really like to listen to. Bands that try to create new sounds, new tones, new things that people aren't listening to. So yeah, I would say I listen to a lot of newer, independent indie rock, but also a lot of old stuff still. So I really love the Beatles still, I love Pink Floyd, and Led Zeppelin, and a lot of those older bands. I went to college for civil engineering, and I was always very good at, you know, math and science and stuff like that. But I had a passion for guitar. And so as I'm studying engineering, I went on and I got my master's degree in engineering. And then after that, the university asked me to teach 2 classes. And so I taught, you know, these 2 engineering classes. But on the weekends, I would fly somewhere and play a concert and fly home and try to teach that week, and then fly again and fly home. And it got very hard to keep track of everything. And so I was getting enough offers to travel and to play concerts that I realized I could quit my job teaching and really follow my true passion, which is guitar. The way I very first started learning it is I was just like this. I was sitting on a chair, and I was not really thinking about much, and I just started doing this right here. And it's we call it a hammer-on, you know. Then you kind of lightly stretch the string and let go, and that's the pull-off. Hammer-on. You have to hit it really hard. That's the hard thing. Is, you know, if you don't do it hard enough, you can't really hear it. But and I started doing this little riff, and I was like, and I looked at this hand, and I said, I'm not even using this hand. Maybe I could do something with it. And I remember going, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I was like, and it's just really simple, right? It's just, you know. And that was the first way I started learning, is just doing a simple pattern with one hand, and then I'm in Dad-Gad tuning, which is D-A-D-G-A-D. And that's a good tuning to start with for doing this stuff, because you can hit like 2 notes, you can hit 3 notes doing this. You know, and so that's how I started. It was just very simple. Left hand playing the melody, right hand playing the bass. Slap harmonics, the way I do them is I kind of stack my fingers on top of each other like that, and then I try to find that good harmonic spot, you know. And sometimes something you do, take 2 fingers and do this little percussive thing in the middle. Do like really fast one. And I love that because you get the harmonic and you get the percussive sound of a slap both at the same time. You know, a normal capo, of course, covers all of the strings. And what I've used to do, so let's say if you're in standard tuning, if you play a D chord, if you play all the strings, it's not going to sound very good, because this low string is not a note that's in the D chord. But if you, or in this case in Dad-Gad, if you put this capo on like this, and I play this C shape, kind of a C shape, it's not going to sound like good right there, right? So what I started doing originally was you just kind of shift the capo down to leave certain strings open. And all of a sudden, it has this good rich sound. But then what I did is I said, well, maybe I want it to go this way so I can reach around it better. And so I took a file and I cut a hole right there. Okay, so now you put it on like this, and this string is going to go all the way through the capo. And so go like that. And then if you want to, you can reach behind it. Hit those notes like that, you know. But then I was like, well, why not do 2 capos? And so, like, let's say I slide this up to here, and I put one on like that. Okay. And so what I did there, I just took my thumb and I rotated like that. And then you could do stuff like, so I started kind of doing multiple capos, and each of these does different things. This blue one, if you put it over the top, it will cover the middle 4 strings, but leave these 2, the high and the low one, open, so it's like a double drop D. But then if you flip it around upside down, this side will just do 3 strings like that, okay? Or you can come up from the bottom and do these 3 and leave these 2 open and this one open. So it's just unlimited. So whenever I'm writing a song, if something just doesn't seem right and I'm trying to use a capo, and I'm like, I wish that note was different, I'll just take the capo and I'll cut a hole in it, and then try it that way, and maybe cut 2 holes in it, or bend it, or do something. And so
谢谢 Thank you very much. I appreciate it.